Okay, Greg Barnes, go ahead first, please.
Hey, Hubert, what was the decision-making process in putting Armando on Banchero to start the game?
Well, there really wasn't a good matchup for Paulo. We just didn't feel like we had a really good matchup in terms of defending him. One of the things that I really believe in Armando, he's a really good defensive player, and he also has size. And so one of the things that I was thinking about was with Armando's size, it would limit Paulo to, and he can be successful out there on the perimeter, but limit him out on the perimeter as opposed to posting up. And Armando got two quick fouls, and we had to put him on the bench, but he then came in the middle of the first half, and I thought he did a good job of staying out of foul trouble the remainder of the game.
CL Brown.
Hubert, when you have a player like Caleb who's kind of struggling shooting the ball, what are the ways that you kind of try and work him out of that? Because it almost seems like some of his game is predicated on scoring, and if he's not scoring, he kind of, maybe doesn't have the same focus or intensity in the other parts of the game.
Well, Duke's pressure really bothered us, specifically our guards, our point guards. Throughout the season, at times, teams that have pressured us has really bothered us. And going into the game, one of the things that we talked about was that Duke was going to pressure the ball. They're going to play in passing lanes, and in order to be able to change sides of the floor and to be able to run our offense like we want to, that you're going to have to create space. You're going to have to make contact to be able to create that space to be able to catch the ball. We weren't able to do that. Their pressure on the ball bothered us to the point that we couldn't even get into our offense. And so it was really their pressure on the ball that made it really difficult for Caleb and for RJ, not only to create shots and to make shots, but also to get us into their offense. And so I really believe that their pressure was the determining factor that really bothered us on the offensive end.
Andrew Jones.
Coach Leakey said that the issue with that 31-8 start was they punched you guys and your team didn't punch back. And he said that it kind of reverted back to some of the ugly losses from before. Is that what you saw? And if so, what is your explanation of how something like that has recurred once again?
No, I think this was different than the losses earlier in the year to Tennessee and Kentucky. I don't contribute that to the same thing. I thought for the most part we played hard. We just didn't play smart and we didn't play together. At the end of the day, we didn't have an answer for Paulo and AJ, with the exception from a defensive standpoint was Leakey. Unfortunately, we couldn't divide Leakey into two players, and we just didn't have an answer for those two. And so from an offensive standpoint, not only their ability to be able to score, but their ability at any time to create shots for their teammates. And so at the end of the day, Paulo and AJ were better than anybody that we had tonight. And so yes, I agree with Leakey from the standpoint that they punched us in the nose at the beginning of the game, but I was really encouraged at halftime. Going down, I think 23 in the first half, and then going into the half, and we could have cut it to 10. Brady missed a free throw, but we had it to 11 at halftime. And so one of the things that we talked about and I was expecting was us to throw the first punch in the second half and really put some life into this crowd, into our team. And I really think that the difference was their response at the beginning of the game and their response at the beginning of the second half. They just took it to us on both ends of the floor at the beginning of both halves, and we were just playing catch up the entire game from there.
Thank you.
Gregory Hall.
Hubert, for the pressure you mentioned on RJ and Caleb, what was discussed as far as trying to counter that, and why wasn't there an answer to that for the rest of the game?
Well, sometimes guys just play better than other guys. It's not really an answer to, this solution. One of the things that I told them that if anytime, whether it's in the park or playing pickup and somebody pressures you that much, your response would be just to go by them and be able to make a play. If somebody picks you up that far out, you have to compliment Jeremy Roach, you have to compliment Wendell Moore, and also Trevor Keels. Their pressure, their ability defensively to be able to pressure and to be able to contain really bothered us, and to the point that even if we were trying to help RJ and Caleb out with the ball screen to relieve pressure, their pressure and their ability stopped us from even coming off the ball screen. So, there are times there isn't a solution other than tip your hat to a certain player or a particular team in which that they played.
So was it more of a pride thing with RJ and Caleb against Duke's backcourt, or a talent thing, or just what do you like? Was there anything discussed to try to change things up differently to play better than what was originally in those first 10 minutes, or like how was it really just go play better?
Well, I don't understand what you mean, a pride thing. At the end of the day, sometimes you play and you don't play as well as you want to play. I mean, I played 4 years here and 12 years in the NBA, and there were games that I didn't play well. It wasn't a particular answer of why didn't I play well, but at times I didn't play the best that I wanted to play. And I would say the same thing, and that I think Caleb and RJ would say is that, it just, today's game, their guards and their pressure bothered us to the point that, we didn't play our best game, particularly on the offensive end. And so that's something that you can learn from and grow from it and get ready for the next game.
PJ, go ahead.
Hey, Hubert. So there were, kind of points in that early, comeback in the first half where Brady was really trying to will the team forward. He was getting inside. He was making shots. How important was his performance tonight in trying to keep the team engaged, especially when they started getting?
Well, he was the one guy that I felt like at the beginning of the game, he wasn't nervous. And that's coming from somebody that this is the first time they've played in a type of game like this. And so he was poised, he was confident out there on the floor. And from an offensive standpoint, he was the only guy that was in rhythm on the offensive end. I thought they did a really good job on Armando. Mark Williams has tremendous length and athleticism, and he did a good job of making Armando score over top of him and wasn't allowing him to get angles close to the basket, where Armando has done a really good job of that this season. And but I thought Brady played really well, and he played hard, and I thought he tried his best, and I'm very, very proud of him.
And do you think he saw anything different in this game that he kind of hadn't experienced before as a UNC player in terms of, the rivalry and what?
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
And in terms of experiencing this game, this kind of, the rivalry game, do you think he saw something else that kind of sparked him to play, this well and, push himself? Or do you see him pushing himself like that constantly?
I don't know. I haven't had time to talk about how he felt out there on the floor. I know he was really excited about playing in this type of atmosphere and this type of game, and I thought he played really well, but all of us wanted a different outcome. All of us wanted to play better. And so, as well as I felt like Brady did play, I know that he's upset that our team wasn't successful today.
Okay, last two, Adam and then Josh. Go ahead, Adam.
Hubert, because of the significance, of this game and of this rivalry, it is part of your challenge for you as a coach, with turning around quick to play Clemson here, but just managing that and leaving this in the rearview mirror so it doesn't. So that this isn't a loss that beats you twice. Is that one of the concerns for you?
No, it's not a concern for me. I mean, one of the things that I told them after the game in the locker room, I said that they're left with two choices. One of the choices is to stay down and whine and complain and point fingers and not get back up. The other choice is to get back up and start working and competing and fighting back. I told them that I didn't even fall down. I'm already up and I'm already swinging back, and that my hope and my expectation for everybody in that locker room is that they're getting back up and get ready to get back to work and fight. I always think, when things don't go your way, I think you can turn it into a positive if you recognize it, admit it, learn from it, and grow from it. And so in terms of putting it in a rearview mirror, I don't necessarily want to do that. I want us to recognize it and learn and grow from this to be able to use it moving forward, not just on Tuesday, but with the remainder of the year. So I think it's a combination of both, but my expectation and my hope is that it will light a fire in us to continue to work and to get better and get ready for our next game.
Okay, Josh, last one.
Coach, you said earlier at the end of the day, you just didn't have an answer for Paulo or AJ, and that you couldn't divide Leaky in half and have him both defend, or have him defend both guys. When you face some really good teams, have you faced a team like Duke that presented as many problems in scouting as the Blue Devils did today?
No, I mean, there's a number of other talented teams in the country, and Duke is one of them. And Paulo is, his ability to be able, from an offensive standpoint, to create his shot not only for himself and for his teammates, whether it's on the perimeter or in the post, is something that very few teams in the country have. AJ's in a really nice rhythm now, not just shooting the ball from three, but just being able to get into his spots. He's a big wing, he's athletic, and he can get to his spots anytime. And so both of those guys are really good, and then they have a very good basketball team. And so we have to improve. We've got to get better. And for us to compete against them later part of the year, we're going to have to play better.
Thank you, everybody.